what is up, guys? Got a new camera angle that hopefully I'll like a little bit better. I realized I got advice from previous videos that the previous camera angle was kind of crap. So I got a new mount, moved it down a little bit on my helmet, moved it out a little bit wider. Should give me a lot better picture. Or I should say, should give you guys a lot better picture. Well then, on the side of luckily avoiding being hit today, I was going to kind of go over what I mean by my name that I picked. So my channel name is obviously AdaptedMoto, and that actually has a story behind it. Adapting is pretty much like changing into any bike that you get. You adapt to new vehicles, stuff like that. The reason why I chose AdaptedMoto is mostly because of all the different bikes that I've owned. Every single bike I've driven, I've owned every style, and I've had to adapt to every single one of them. So that's kind of my thing. I mean, people know me that I can hop on any single person's bike, drive it with no issue, and not even stall it. That's been kind of the thing. So about that, I was kind of going to go over my history of all my bikes that I've had. Official chocolate milk of the Colorado Eagles. I don't even know who the Colorado Eagles are. So then, as far as bikes that I've owned before, let's see. So my very first one that I picked up, well, didn't pick up, is actually gifted to me, was by my parents when I was younger, back in 2005. It was a little old Chinese bike called Cruisin' was the brand name. And believe it or not, I was horrified to ride the thing. I never wanted to touch it, just because I was so scared of it. And crashed on it a couple times, didn't pick it up till near about, 2010 again? I went a very, very long time without touching that thing. So, after that guy, I had the idea to actually sell it. Didn't want to get into motorcycles anymore. Thought the thing's been sitting around long enough, and I wanted to get it off our hands. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put it up for sell or trade and see what comes out of it. So I put it up for trade, and in about a week, I get a response from a guy down in Elizabeth, Colorado, a good 2 hours away, who wanted to trade me a 1986 Kawasaki KDX 200 for it. And being a little kid that I am, who's just excited for new toys, I jumped on it. So the next bike that I got was that one, the KDX 200. And my God, was it a beater. Oh man, it barely ran. The whole thing been spray painted over, ran all rough and everything. But it was fun. It was my first full-size motorcycle. But then again, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to stop here. I'm going to try to keep going. What else can I get? And at this point, I'm starting to think of the guy who traded from the paperclip to the house. I'm like, oh, I want to be like him. Let's see where I can go. So, next bike, after putting that one up for trade, I get a hit probably about 2 weeks later. A little bit slower on this one. And a guy wants to trade me a 93 Suzuki DR350 that had a broken transmission on it. And I did a little bit of research on the broken transmission. It was a simple fix. The only thing that was wrong on it was a shifter bolt. So I bought the shifter bolt, got the bike, traded it up direct. Didn't do anything. We just swapped titles and all that, and put the shifter bolt in, and voila, I had a perfectly working DR350. Which actually, to this day, I still really liked that bike. It was in really, really good shape, other than just the shifter bolt. But that was a pretty easy fix. And then, so yeah, so I had him, and then while I was fixing him, I already got him up and put him on trade again. Within 2 weeks of owning this guy, I have another person who wants to trade me, believe it or not, 2 bikes for him. A 91 CR250 and a 95 XR350. That was a pretty good one. So that's what I do next. Oh, gazelle, or whatever you call them. I don't know. Those things are everywhere in Wyoming. Look at them. Be free. So at this point, I had 2 bikes. Now, the CR250, it ran rough, and the hard thing is I didn't really know how to tune carburetors. I wasn't very adept at that. So, I put a post on Craigslist asking to see if anyone could do work on it for like $100 because it was barely running. Believe it or not, had this older retired guy, his name was Phil, hit me up and he's like, give me a pack of cores and I'll do it for you for free. All he did was charge me the parts and stuff for that. So I'm like, oh sweet, I'm getting a free bike worked on. So, so he worked on the bike for me and got it all hooked up, got it all running fine for free. And out of all the bikes I've driven, I gotta say that CR250 was actually probably the hardest one I've physically driven, because I wasn't very skilled at the time, and 2-strokes are mad monsters if you ever know about them. That guy totally just stalled the truck right in front of me. And then on the other hand, that XT350 was a gutless pig. It couldn't do anything. So then, while I owned these 2 bikes, I had a family member a family friend who knew me really well, and it's kind of a little bit on the richer side. He had an old 1986 Yamaha Pro Hauler with a 230cc engine and a 10-speed transmission. 10 speeds, mind you. This was the most torquey machine I've ever owned. I could pull my truck with this thing, with an ATV. I don't know where I'm going. But the bad thing about the ATV is that it had been sitting for about 2 years with fuel in it and not having ran since then. So I had to restore it. So I hit up my buddy Phil again, asked him if he wants another pack of cores, and he gets to work on it for me, restores it and gets it going. So there we go. I now have an ATV, an XR350, and a CR250. So this one wasn't necessarily a trade, but I consider it one because I sold all of these guys and turned around and got a 2011 DRZ 400. Mind you, with no money spent. I turned around and just flipped profits. So this bike was incredibly nice, actually. Only had 3,000 miles on it, really clean. And I did just a little bit of work on it and put a little bit of cheap customization into it. But I'm having this bike. I'm summer of Colorado. I'm thinking, oh, this thing doesn't have enough power for me for getting on the streets, what kind of commuting I'm doing. So I wanted to get a different bike. And so I get rid of him. He was at the time, actually still is, the longest bike I've owned though. Next bike that I picked up was a Actually, I traded this one for my DRZ. It was a 2000 Gixxer 600 and a KTM 125 SX. So I got the dirt bike and the sport bike. And that sport bike was a POS, mind you. Oh god, it was in such bad shape. I can't believe I picked that thing up. So I got rid of him pretty fast. That KTM though, 125, is a two-stroker. Oh man, it was a very clean bike. It got going in one kick every time. So the next bike I picked up after those, I'm like, okay, I'm done with the sport bike world. Let's try to go pick up a cruiser. So next bike I get is a 2000 Honda Shadow Spirit 1100. And oh, this was a clean cruiser. Very, very in good shape. Only had 13,000 miles on the odometer. And had Cobra pipes, custom black paint job, tinted lights, ammo cans, custom seat. I bought it for $2,100 and turned around and sold the thing for $3,000. And I only put maybe about $100 of upgrades into it. And yeah, I had him for a while, but I'm like, nah, this isn't fast enough. Let me go pick up another sport bike now. But I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna try to get something different. Let's get an upright sport bike. Well, after doing a lot of hunting, I found a bike called a Yamaha FC6. It's running a Gym 1 R6 motor, but it's an upright sport touring form. I loved this guy. I actually still regret getting rid of him. He's my first fuel-injected bike I've owned, and was probably the nicest one out of all of them. Had 15,000 miles. Heck, I put 1,000 miles on this guy in 2 weeks. That's how much I liked him. So I had him for a while. You actually can see a couple of videos of me being on the bike with my friend Sport Bike Hobo. I did a lot of rides with him. And then I'm like, well, I'm going back up to Laramie, Wyoming from Colorado. And I'm like, I don't want to have a sport bike in a place where there could be possibly snow. My ultimate goal is to commute in snow up here. So what do? I sell him and turn around and get my Husqvarna. When I first got this guy, he was a beater. Heck, the back was held on by paracord. But I saw the potential in it. So I took the bike up, I spent my time restoring it, new graphics, cracked the front rims, I had to put a new rim on. And it's the current bike that it is today. And out of every bike I've owned, this has actually been the most fun bike I've had. It has enough power and low and grunt to get that acceleration, because I love fast acceleration on bikes. And then, it's still a dirt bike, it's still a dual sport, so I can still take it off-road. Now, a lot of nice advantages with this bike. Yeah, so long story short, that's pretty much my history behind AdaptedMoto. That's why I named this channel AdaptedMoto. I've been through so many different bikes, I've tried so many different styles. Heck, I've even driven trials bikes in the middle, 2 strokes, 4 strokes, everything you can imagine. And I've had adapted to them all, and heck, I think where I'm at right now, I'm doing pretty good. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Here's the history of me, history of the channel, and hope to see you next video. This is the sketchiest old car wash.